My 2 cents, I thought the match was actually very poor. This is going to upset a lot of people. I honestly thought it was one of, if you're putting this up with all the War Games matches that have come before, whether it be WCW, NXT, whatever, I actually think this is one of the worst. There was plenty of great talent in the ring. I love pretty much everyone in this match. There aren't too many guys that I think, to be honest, I'm looking at this entire list of guys, not a single one of them I don't love watching at some point or another. Jericho annoys me from time to time, but he is a certifiable Hall of Famer and a legend. And other than that, I really like the guys. I like the big guys, Jake Hager and Wardlow. I think they've got a lot to offer. I love the tag teams, obviously. FTR and Proud and Powerful are two of the best tag teams of the modern era. And I think Sammy Guevara is a megastar. And for me, Sammy Guevara is the MVP of this match. I thought he was utterly incredible. I think he deserves a lot more than he gets from this company. I actually think he's woefully underutilized a lot of the time. I think it's, you should be strapping a rocket to him. I'm sick and tired of seeing people like Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy, guys who, frankly, are subpar at times, getting big pushes when a guy like Sammy Guevara has all the tools to be a monster star. I also thought Sean Spears proved that he is not just some nobody jobber, actually. He was excellent in this match. Can do without the stiff chair shots to the head, whether they're gimmicked or not. It's not a good look for me, personally. We've gone through a lot. This is what cracks me up, though, because obviously the end of the match is what everyone wants to talk about. Chris Jericho being pushed, being nice. He was pushed off of the top of the cage by MJF, despite the fact that they had surrendered, which, by the way, I thought was a terrible fucking stipulation for a match like.
Yeah, no pinfalls. What? Either submission or surrender. Yep, because that rolls off the tongue. Tony Schiavone, you fucking twat.
Submit or surrender. I hate Tony Schiavone. He is fucking garbage. He's the worst commentator in all of wrestling right now. He's even worse than Michael Cole, for fuck's sake. At least Michael Cole actually knows how to do some sort of play-by-play, although he's fucking awful as well. I was so frustrated because, okay, the bump is what it is. I don't have a problem with them going through some painted cardboard and a crash mat or whatever because he's 50. And I don't want to see a 51-year-old wrestler falling, to his death and taking a flat bump. That isn't my problem. First of all, it's another screwy finish. Another one. Okay, we're still having a giggle at the expense of Sparklergate, and AEW Revolution, which was trash. Whether you like it or not, that was a trash ending to a trash match. This was another trash ending to an average at best cage match, which, by the way, this match had a shit ton of botches. A lot of them.
Yep, I did notice that.
A lot, okay? And I don't mind botches because I understand that they're not going to ever be perfect. But when there's like 7 or 8 in a condensed amount of time, just stop. And I expect better, actually, because these are guys I wouldn't expect to botch. I can understand Sammy Guevara botching once or twice because you're going to do that when you wrestle that kind of insane high-octane style. And the Lucha Brothers do that too. My problem isn't botches. My problem is volume of botches. Let's get that fucking clear. When there's way too many in one match, it's disappointing. But again, it's poor camera work. And by the way, the camera work for this sucked. And as somebody who does videography and actually does camera work for wrestling, I found it offensive to watch. They missed so many spots. They didn't know how to camera cut properly, which frustrated the hell out of me. And people can say, oh, well, it's live and blah, blah. No, there are no excuses for poor camera work when you are a billion-dollar company. If you were GCW or whatever, then I might forgive you a little bit more because you don't have a huge mega $1 million setup. But Tony Khan himself goes on social media regularly to brag about how many millions he has to put aside for video clips and editing and things of that nature. Well, then pay people to do fucking camera work properly, you stupid little prick. That annoys the crap out of me. It's unprofessional and it is lazy and it is poor and it is not a good example of how to show wrestling in the proper light. And again, camera work for the finish. Looking directly at Chris Jericho, knowing that this bump isn't going to look that realistic, there are so many ways you could have done this. And it's not like you haven't had big bumps before that could have changed this. Sammy Guevara himself seems to take so many big bumps. Maybe the only reason he didn't take the bump here is because the poor bastard seems to take all the other big ones. But my problem isn't Jericho taking a bump that's not dangerous looking enough. I don't have a problem with that. My disbelief doesn't need to be suspended enough that I expect him to die. My problem is present it properly. Make it look as good as you can. And they don't bother doing that. it almost felt like they went, yeah, that'll do. And I know this wasn't pre-edited or pre-taped, but I just thought it was poor. To be honest, there were too many things wrong with this match for me to really enjoy it and make it a good match. But I'm sure Meltzer will give it 6 stars because he's on the fucking payroll and he's a pathetic lapdog who needs to grow up. But I honestly thought this was a really poor match. I don't think it even sneezed close to any of the War Games matches I've seen in the past few years in NXT. I don't think it matches up even remotely to any of the classics. And I think that's a shame because they had the talent in there to do it. But for whatever reason, the match wasn't put together well. I thought Proud and Powerful and Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears were all fantastic. I thought everyone else was subpar or average. And I thought there was way too many botch spots. So even if you take away the shoddy finish, I thought the match was, frankly, very subpar and very sloppy.
That was the thing for me. When it started with Dax Harwood and Guevara, if I remember correctly. I don't remember FTR's names.
Yeah. Cash Wheeler came in second.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't really care because I don't watch the product. But I'm like, you know what? It's a War Games match. Blood, guts, whatever. I don't fucking care. It's 2 rings in a cage. Suck my dick. So I'm like, whatever. I'll watch it. I'll give it a try. And the first 5 minutes where it was just Guevara and Harwood were great. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're on 2-minute intervals now. Okay, why wasn't it 2 minutes to start? Why'd you go 5 minutes, then 2 minutes?
No need to have 5 minutes.
Like, that's rushed. That was really rushed for me, where it's 5, then all of a sudden 2 minutes are just like, whatever. But, you know, I thought it was all right until all 10 men were in the ring. And then the cohesion just kind of fell apart. You have that classic, one team in one ring, the other team, and they have that face off. I mean, that's always a cool visual, but that was its peak with all 10 men. I didn't have fun watching it, and I should have because it's a fucking War Games. The finish, it is what it is. As long as Jericho didn't get hurt being that old, great. But like you say, if you're going to take a bump like that, you're going to do a bump like that, don't look straight at it and go, haha, look at that. Like, take at it from the side or something where you wouldn't necessarily notice. And when he goes through, you just see the impact of a body going through what you want people to think is steel, not corrugated cardboard. Like, fuck boys, man. That's it. I'm just calling AEW fuckboy company now.
Yeah, it does feel that way. For me, the best match of the night was Cody versus QT Marshall.
Oof. I mean, both men are great, but oof.
I will say one thing. First of all, QT Marshall isn't even close to a star, and I care so little about this Nightmare Family versus Factory gimmick. I think it's a joke. I think the factions in this company are a joke. But I thought both guys had an excellent match. I think QT Marshall has got himself in phenomenal shape. Some of the power he displayed when he almost botched a powerbomb-like spot was fantastic. I really thought it was an excellent wrestling match. I really did. And I really enjoyed it from that standpoint. And also, I love the fact that Anthony Ogogo, Britain's own Anthony Ogogo, got in the ring, sucker punch Cody, and then draped the British flag over the top of him, which I thought was absolutely amazing. Why? Because fuck you, America. That's why. Just brilliant. Really pleased for Anthony Ogogo getting a push. So nothing really, to complain about. And I thought SCU being number 1 contenders is great, although they're going to face the Young Bucks next week, and chances are they're going to lose. And when they lose, they have to disband. So from next week, we're probably not going to have SCU. Very disappointing that tag team that has been together for what seems like it's well over a decade.
I'd say 15, 16 years, because they were tagging together in TNA as well.
Yeah, exactly. They were a bad influence in TNA, and they were fucking good too. And obviously, they know each other for so long from working at places like Ring of Honor and other places as well. That is what it is. But I thought this was a woefully average show with an incredibly subpar main event. And I don't understand why they gave this main event away on TV.